You can support In the Past Lane with as little as $1 a month. Just go to the support page at our website, inthepastlane.com. Thanks.
Whoa, hit the brakes. You've arrived at the #1 drive-by for American history. Welcome to The Pit Stop. Brought to you by In the Past Lane, the podcast about history and why it matters. Here's Edward T. O'Donnell, your host and historian at large.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Pit Stop, your Monday source for history on the go in just about 5 minutes. We offer this feature every Monday, in addition to our full feature episodes, where I talk to historians about their latest books. Here's what happened in American history the week of July 29th, 2019. Let's start with birthdays. July 29th, 1863, that's the birthday of Henry Ford, who was born in Greenfield Township, Michigan. Ford grew up on a farm, but he hated rural life. So at age 16, he left home and walked to the city of Detroit. There he found work as a machinist, and later as a mechanical engineer. And in his spare time, he designed and built automobiles. After some success, Ford decided to go into the automobile manufacturing business full-time. After 2 false starts, he formed the Ford Motor Company in 1903. In 1904, his first full year of operation, Ford sold 1,745 cars. He was on his way. Henry Ford once said, "History is more or less bunk. It's tradition. We don't want tradition. We want to live in the present, and the only history that is worth a tinker's dam is the history we make today." August 1st, 1818, astronomer Maria Mitchell was born on Nantucket Island off of Massachusetts. Mitchell made headlines around the world in 1847 when she discovered a comet. She became the first woman elected to the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and later the first U.S. woman to become a professor of astronomy. Also born on August 1st, the writer Herman Melville, who was born August 1st, 1819, in the city of New York. Melville was a contemporary of great writers like Nathaniel Hawthorne and Henry David Thoreau, but he never achieved their level of success. He died in 1891, and it was 30 years later, in the 1920s, when his novels, especially Moby Dick, gained critical acclaim. Moby Dick is now considered by many the great American novel. August 1st, 1837, Mary Mother Jones was born in Cork, Ireland. Mother Jones emigrated to the U.S., and after many years of poverty and struggle, she joined the labor movement, becoming one of its most widely known and revered organizers and speakers. Mother Jones once said, "I have never had a vote, and I have raised hell all over this country. You don't need a vote to raise hell. You need convictions and a voice." August 2nd, 1924, novelist, playwright, and activist James Baldwin was born in New York City. Baldwin was a prolific writer whose works like Go Tell It on the Mountain and The Fire Next Time explored difficult themes like race, class, identity, and psychology. He was also active in the civil rights movement. James Baldwin once said, "I love America more than any country in this world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually." Okay, what about events? July 29th, 1958, Congress passes a bill creating the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, better known as NASA, a civilian agency that would lead the nation into the space race. NASA was a direct result of the panic that seized the United States 9 months earlier, when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first satellite. July 30th, 1945, the heavy cruiser USS Indianapolis was torpedoed and sunk by a Japanese submarine. The ship went down in just 12 minutes, drowning hundreds and leaving hundreds more floating in shark-infested waters for days before they were rescued. If you've seen the movie Jaws, you likely remember Captain Quint's vivid description of sharks picking off scores of men while they waited to be rescued. July 30th, 1965, President Lyndon Baines Johnson signs into law Medicare, the government health program for elderly Americans. The signing took place at the Truman Presidential Library, where former President Truman was on hand to be enrolled as the program's first beneficiary and the first recipient of a Medicare card. August 1st, 1964, the bodies of 3 civil rights workers were found in Mississippi. James Chaney, Michael Schwimmer, and Andrew Goodman had been murdered by members of the KKK due to their efforts to register African Americans to vote and to push back against racist laws and practices. The case drew national attention and helped garner support for the Voting Rights Act, which was signed into law the next year. All right, time for the last word. Let's give it to James Baldwin, who was born 95 years ago this week. Here's one of the most profound statements ever made about the significance of history, which, you may notice, differs quite a bit from Henry Ford's claim that history is bunk. History, as nearly no one seems to know, is not merely something to be read, and it does not refer merely or even principally to the past. On the contrary, the great force of history comes from the fact that we carry it within us, are unconsciously controlled by it in many ways, and history is literally present in all that we do. It could scarcely be otherwise, since it is to history that we owe our frames of reference, our identities, and our aspirations. Okay, people, that's your history fix for the week. Now put it in drive and go make your own history.